Breaking news from Fox 29.
Right now, a curfew is in place in the city of West Palm Beach. It's in effect nightly from 9 p.m. until 6 a.m. for the next 72 hours, unless the city extends it or terminates it before that time. Now, this comes after a day of protests across Palm Beach County following the death of George Floyd.
People are being asked to peacefully disperse from any street in the city, including downtown West Palm Beach. During this curfew, people may travel to work. Right now, we want to take a live look from our partner station's Chopper 5 over the Target on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard. This is the latest scene of some unrest here. About 15 to 20 minutes ago, a large group was seen running from the Target, and then much of that group spilled over into the Home Depot parking lot there as well. This is just across from the Palm Beach outlets as well. We understand parts of Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard have been closed right now as police assess the situation. Again, a curfew is in effect across the city overnight, or across the city over the last few hours, I should say. We've heard reports of cars being smashed into. We had one report, a live image of a car on fire. We also had other reports just of some unrest, people walking through the city, pushing over things like barriers and whatnot. But for the most part, everything has been controlled. This is the one area that we're watching and monitoring right now. And we want to welcome in right now West Palm Beach Mayor Keith James on the phone.
And Mayor James, what ultimately led you to declare a curfew for the city tonight?
I've been in touch with my law enforcement officials throughout the day, through them keep an eye on the protest, and it was my instruction to them that do what's necessary to keep those peaceful, but let's not overreact. And I thought that we did a good job of doing that. And then toward the evening, as it started getting darker, we started hearing reports of looting and violence. About 200 individuals were breaking windows, setting fires. We heard about some activity at the Best Buy store on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, some looting there, some looting at the Outlets Mall. Anyway, the situation had disintegrated. And in order to restore peace to our streets, it was necessary to impose a curfew so that law enforcement would have the tools that they needed in order to restore peace to our streets.
Mayor, will you use, are you giving, I should say, your police officers the opportunity to use force to disperse these crowds? I understand some tear gas and some other measures have been used to disperse some of these crowds overnight if things get tense. And if they witness sort of a hostile act like that, are they going to use those measures?
Well, listen, they will use the appropriate measures. We are trying to just simply disperse people from the streets. That's the purpose of the curfew, to get people off the streets, move them to their homes, so that we can have we can restore a sense of peace and security to our streets. But I have to leave it to law enforcement to use their best judgment. I have all the confidence in the world in the West Palm Beach police officers and in the judgment and in their training. And I believe that they will do what is necessary, but only what is necessary, and not go above board in restoring order to our streets.
And if you could tell us, Mayor, a little bit more details about the curfew. It definitely is in effect tonight and then also tomorrow night as well?
Yes, for 72 hours unless we lift it. And again, we're going to monitor the situation just like we monitor the situation all day today. We'll see what's happening tomorrow in our city, and we'll keep an eye on it. But again, public safety is job number one under my administration. And we're going to do whatever we have to do so that no matter where you live in our city, you are in a safe, secure environment. And whether that's downtown, whether that's on the Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, whether it's at the south end, public safety is job number one. People have to feel safe and secure in their neighborhoods.
Mayor, as you mentioned, when the sun went down, things sort of heated up. It was apparent that more and more people, we saw some unrest unfolding there. Can you tell us about the hot spots that you're aware of right now and how you're going to react to this as the night goes on, if in fact this gets worse before it gets better?
Well, listen, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that with the imposition of the curfew and the steps that we're taking, things will get better far sooner than they will get worse. But Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, between the Outlets Mall and the Best Buy store area, That's a hot spot, if you will. Our downtown area around Clematis Street and Quadrille continues to be a hot spot. And we've heard of some activity over on Southern Boulevard as well. So we are monitoring this very, very carefully. And again, my directions to the police were to use appropriate response and measures in order to clear the streets, disperse everyone, get them away, get them home, and so that we can have order on our streets.
And Mayor, do you have other concerns that are happening right now? I know this is during the COVID-19 pandemic. So what's going through your mind? What other things should be concerned about in the city?
Well, what's going through my mind is that this is just a perfect storm, if you will, of bad things, right? We got a pandemic. Now we have civil unrest in our streets. And by the way, tomorrow is the beginning of hurricane season. So listen, and I've encouraged people, and I'm sure the residents of West Palm Beach, the citizens of West Palm Beach get this. But we've got to get through all of these things, whether it's the pandemic, whether this period of civil unrest, and even through hurricane. We got to do it together, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the West Palm Beach way, is working together. I would imagine that most of the bad actors, there's about 200 people that that I'm told are probably from outside of West Palm Beach. They probably aren't even residents of our city. And that's what's most frustrating. Again, throughout the day, there are opportunities for people to demonstrate, to exercise their First Amendment right. Heck, we even close off 95 so that folks can walk up and down 95. When does that ever happen? But again, we were trying to accommodate the First Amendment rights to give people an opportunity to express themselves. And that was all done in a very peaceful manner. And I'm very proud of the citizens who participated in those events, as well as our police officers, for no one overreacting. And then once it started getting dark, we had a few bad apples, a few bad characters who started breaking windows and setting cars on fire. That does no justice to the memory of Mr. Floyd. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's very frustrating that we have a full day of peaceful demonstration, and then it deteriorates as it gets dark. And again, I believe these are agitators from outside our city.
West Palm Beach Mayor Keith James. Mayor James, thanks so much for your time tonight. We know it'll be a long night and a long week ahead, so we appreciate you taking the time with us.